Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Fuso. And we are still on the path to the Amagi. So with that being said, let's take a look at our commander. We are running Takeo Takagi with Andrew Cunningham and Azure Lane Scharnhorst. We are running Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, and Reaching Out XXL. And we are running Will to Rebuild. Okay, let's look at our equipment. We are running Aiming Systems Mod 1, and since Tier 5 gives us 2, we are actually able to run the Steering Gears mod, which I highly recommend all the way up this line from here on out. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's look at the loadout. We are running the Spotter plane. We have our community contributor flag and our Type 2 camo, which gives us a plus 4.5% to incoming fire dispersion. Okay? Stats. 57,100 hit points with a 34% torpedo damage reduction. That's going to come in real handy in one of the videos I'm going to show you. We're actually going to do a double feature for this one, so hopefully you guys are ready for that. Artillery. We have 12 356mm guns that reach out to 18.6 kilometers. They reload in just 28 seconds, and they have a 180-degree turn time of 38.3, which is actually not too bad. HE shell maximum damage of 5,700 and a 25% chance to set fire. The AP shell maximum damage is 11,220. For secondaries, we have 8 127mm Type 89s that reach out to 4.2 kilometers and reload in 5 seconds. They fire HE with a maximum damage of 2,100 and an 8% chance to set fires. Then you have the 152mm 41st year types. You have 14 of those that reach out to 4.2 kilometers, reload in 10 seconds, and fire AP with a maximum damage of 2,900. AA defense. 25mm Type 96s, you have 17 of those that do 31 damage per second and reach out to 3.1 kilometers. Then you have 25mm Type 96 Mod 1s that you have 20 of that do 50 damage per second and reach out to 3.1 kilometers. Then you have the 127mm Type 89 A1s that you have 8 of and do 40 damage per second and reach out to 5 kilometers. Maneuverability. Top speed is not as good as the Congo. 22 knots is the max. Turning circle, 740 meters is pretty good. And the rudder shift time is pretty fantastic at 13.4 seconds. Concealment, 14.9 kilometers by sea, 11.9 by air, and 13 kilometer detectability while firing in smoke. Alright, so let's look at our armor. Now, here you can see we are not quite better armored so much than the Congo, but there is a little more armor here, which is why we're slower. This is essentially the same ship as the Congo, except it gets extra turrets, and it has a little bit more armor. Alright, so you've got that armor belt at the front, again 102 millimeters there. I think it was only like, what was it, 50 millimeters on the Congo? Can't remember. You guys will have to let me know. We've got the side plating, 19 millimeters. Get rid of that. Get rid of the armor on the superstructure. You can see the deck armor, 35 to 51 millimeters thick. And then if we get rid of all of that, you can see the Citadel. Now, unlike the others, this one does not have the hump that gets you Citadel. However, if you go broadside in this, which you will a lot due to the fact that it's got a 12-gun broadside and you want to use that to the best of your ability, but you've got to time it right, because if you get caught broadside, you will be Citadel'd hard. Okay? So keep that in mind. Like, this Citadel is massive and just absolutely begs for it. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's look at the overview. Guns aplenty. A high number of guns allows for a lot of damage from a single salvo. Long reach, above average main battery range. Hit them before they can hit you. and compromising, however. Higher caliber AP shells may overpin the armor, but may still arm depending on shell velocity. Fuso, one of the mightiest battleships of her time. When built, Fuso was the largest warship in the world. She had a fairly powerful artillery and reasonably heavy armor. She entered service in 1915, and there were 2 of them in the series. Let's take a look at her real quick. She's got that ridiculous pagoda tower that gives her away. That's why her concealment is awful, because you can see that tower from 30 miles away probably. Like, that is ridiculous. But other than that, I mean, there's not much here that's changed other than adding extra guns and moving the catapult. So it's basically a Congo class with more armor and more guns. Lots of guns. The guns are fantastic. Unlike the Congo, these guns actually hit what you're aiming at, which is very, very nice. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to have a bit of a double feature for you guys. This first one is going to showcase when everything goes horribly wrong, and showcase the ship in a pretty good light when it comes to just fighting for as long as you can. Okay? Then the second game is going to also showcase fighting for everything you can, but it's going to be a little bit better and more technical. So we're going to get into the fight here with the Fuso, and lo and behold, the entire enemy team is going to throw themselves at us. And I know I'm slightly exaggerating here, but it's not far off. Alright? Pretty much everybody ends up over here. So we've got our work cut out for us. Now, our battleship buddy that's right next to us is not going to be the most helpful. Big surprise, right? When you need them most, that's when the person that spawns next to you is completely useless. Any other time, they are the most amazing player on the planet. But when you actually need them to do some good things and hold, they just fall apart and are incapable of doing any real damage, and it's just sad. So, yeah, that's just the way it goes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can do about it. But it is something that happens quite a bit, and it almost always seems like it's when you need them to be the best. Now, this match is going to go horribly wrong for me right off the bat. I am detected. I can't see what's detecting me, other than the fact that the Fuso's off, or the Congo's off to my right, and he's the one that's actually detecting me because I'm an idiot. Okay? He has better concealment than us. Remember? When we get hit hard right off the bat, Congo hits us right over the top of the island. And so I've got 2 Congos heading in my direction. We know that. And not particularly worried, but first shot doesn't hit anything, which is never good. I start to turn out, because I got a little bit of a sneaky suspicion that there's other things out here. And that's when the worst possible thing that could happen to me happens. There is an enemy Oklahoma stationed behind the gigantic kidney bean off to the north, and he gets the nastiest salvo I've ever been hit with in the Fuso. And that's you know, being pretty realistic. I have never been hit that hard in the Fuso. That Oklahoma punched me right in the mouth, and I had no idea he existed. Well done to him for sticking behind that island and being able to play it perfectly until he got the shot that he wanted. And boy, did he ever take advantage of it. And we lost all our hit points real quick. Now, that being said, this one's going to be all about battling through adversity. I could just give up here, right? Like, a lot of people probably would. Just got double citadeled, got citadeled in the salvo previous to that by a tier 4 battleship, and so you're not feeling very good right now. Let's be real. Everybody has been here at some point or another. What separates a good player from the average Joe is what you do from here on out. Battle through adversity. That's what we're talking about. It's like Rocky said, okay? By the way, awesome job getting the Rocky 2 reference the other day. A lot of people knew it was Rocky, but a lot of people didn't get the fact that it was Rocky 2. But like Rocky says in Rocky Balboa the movie, which was technically Rocky 6, it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Or in this case, staying alive and continuing the fight, not necessarily moving forward. Okay? So, we're going to get into this, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Just, A, staying alive long enough to get something out of this match, and B, pulling off something that's pretty ridiculous in and of itself. And I don't know how much of it was us, how much of it was us abusing physics, and how much of it was the enemy just having no idea how to shoot somebody. It's all possible. And it's probably a little bit of everything, okay? I am going to abuse the physics in this one. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go out here and do the T-Bowl shuffle in a battleship. Now, there, we get caught by the Congo again. But you can see I'm trying to angle. You can see I'm using the border. It's going to slow me down. I know this. I'm allowed to strafe here for some stupid reason because that's the way the game is made. Funny things happen when you're strafing the edge of the map. I don't like to do it because it generally, you know, isn't well received by people. It's kind of a dirty tactic because you are abusing physics. You're using part of the game as an unintended purpose to gain an advantage. Okay, that it's technically against the rules. I don't know if Wargaming will have anything bad to say about this, but it is technically abusing physics and against the rules and can be punishable, at least in every game that I've ever played competitively. That's been the case. Like, every single game. Like, if you're abusing physics, you can get in trouble for it. Now, in my mind, this Kuma is behind the island. Okay? Just put this out, just putting that out there. Even a player like me, who has been around the block a lot, sometimes oversees things. You can clearly see he's in front of the island on the map. The dude's 5 kilometers from me. I don't even look at him because I think he's behind the island. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, he's right here. He's on top of me. He's probably dropping torps on me. This is not good. And then, of course, we overpin him because he's a cruiser and we're a battleship, and that's all you get. Just overpins. But our secondaries are doing the thing. You can see the 152 AP is actually doing things. Now, he goes down, and for some reason, I don't think he actually ended up torping us, which is huge for us. I appreciate it. But we've got the Emile Berton out here, and I got to get rid of him. That thing and the HE that it's capable of putting out is absolutely devastating. It's got great AP as well, but almost nobody uses it except me. So most of the time you see these French cruisers, they're firing HE, and they set so many freaking fires. And so right now I am just begging for this guy to get finished. I've got no health. This guy needs to die. I take the shot, and our aircraft carrier, of all things, decides to drop a bomb on him and finish him, which I guess he's dead, so there's that. And here I was praying to God I didn't get set on fire. Now we have a Congo pushing up on our backside. I'm not particularly afraid of him because look at the angle of attack for him. It's awful. He's shooting at my armor. So Oklahoma is the bigger threat here. He's got a much juicier target. You can see I am trying to angle as best I can. I'm using the edge of the map, and his rounds are going everywhere because of it. You can see all these rounds that the Congo fires at me just shatter off my backside because he has no idea how to shoot me. And again, there are times if you're unable to get any real damage with your AP, it is perfectly acceptable to switch to HE. I've never said that you should never shoot HE out of a battleship. Most of the time, though, you want AP loaded. It's just the better shot most of the time. But in this Congo's case, if he'd have loaded HE, I'd have been dead in one salvo. But he continues to shoot AP at me, and he basically sits here for 3 minutes doing nothing for damage. I got 1,000 damage occasionally. We only got 2,700 left. And the Oklahoma's going to get a shot on us and take us down to 500 hit points. We take one more shot at the Oklahoma. Looks absolutely juicy. And we punch him in the mouth, taking us up to 93,000 damage. And then the Congo, again, instead of waiting for a better shot, takes the shot early, ricochets and shatters everything, and that allows me, with 500 hit points, to get the shot of dreams on him, and we are going to make him pay for it. Now, unfortunately, we only get the 1 Citadel, but 7 penetrations, 1 Citadel, and 1 overpin. Absolutely smashing the man, taking us up to 124,000 damage. Done. Now, I'm not going to make you guys sit through this entire ending. Basically, my team comes through, they capture the center base, and then they finish off all the guys that I took all the health from. But this just goes to show you, even losing all of our health at the beginning of the match, you can find a way to stay in the match as long as you can and do the most that you can. And look, Oklahoma has no health. He goes out, he gets obliterated by the carrier and the destroyer. No problem. And that just leaves the carrier. Now, this carrier should have died in this match, but our cruiser over here, who probably had himself a decent match. I'm not trash talking the guy. But, again, this is going to be one of those situations you got to know when to use HE and when to use AP. And as a cruiser player, that is a valuable skill. You have to know when to switch, because you get all of the opportunities to take advantage of AP and HE in a cruiser. Unless, of course, you're in the British light cruisers. But this thing is fully capable of citadeling this vessel. And unfortunately, he just sticks to shooting HE. He does try to torp him here with a wide spread for some reason. And maybe that's the narrow spread, I don't know. But anyway, ends up chasing him and doesn't do anything to him. 124,000 damage, though. Second on the team, 1,900. And you can see Montecukuli had a good game. I'm not trash-talking the guy, but sometimes you just got to know when to switch. And now for the main event of the evening. World Neighbors. And we're gonna showcase the ship is a pretty solid contender at Tier 5. There's a lot of good ships, a lot of good battleships at Tier 5. There really are. It just comes down to how you use them. And a lot of people give the Japanese line as a whole a bad name because they don't like them. But honestly, the only real issue that I have all the way up this line is the Congo. I don't like the Congo. Even though it's fast, the accuracy is so trash on that ship. But the Ishizuki is great accuracy with a dispersion build. The Fuso has good accuracy with a dispersion build. The Nagato, I haven't played in a long time, so I'll reserve my judgment on the Nagato. I know it was nerfed since I last played it, so we'll see in the next episode. And the Amagi is fantastic. Even though it was nerfed as well, the Amagi is still a very, very good ship. And when utilized properly, can be nasty. So looking forward to that one as well. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this line, or this series. I know you guys seem to enjoy the Path 2 series on all of the different battleships so far. Now we will be doing other ships as well. It just takes time. Each one of these lines I've got to go through at least, what, 4 or 5 videos? So keep that in mind. We take a shot at the Normandy right off the bat, and right off the bat get rewarded. 19,000 damage, a Citadel on him. Like, I was pretty surprised this early. And then we showcased the amazing turning ability. Seeing that they were going to drop torpedoes on us, we were able to easily dodge them. Easily dodge them. And then so badly that the carrier player just gives up on trying to torp us. He literally gives up for the rest of the game trying to do anything to us, which is fantastic for me, but it was hilarious. He tries one time to get me, we shoot down one plane and dodges torpedoes, and suddenly he wants nothing to do with us anymore. It was fantastic. Now here we're taking shots at the Normandy. Normandy is just begging for it. I thought he actually quit playing here, but he doesn't. Now, long-range sniping has never been the thing for the Japanese battleships. You want to get up close and personal if you can, especially at the mid to high tiers. It just does better. They're relatively tanky. They're not amazingly tanky, but they are relatively tanky. Amagi's pretty good, but when it comes down to it, ooh, we got a shot at the pod. Are we gonna hit him? Nope. Nope. Well, it was pretty close, but the dispersion wasn't the greatest. And that's the thing that most people complain about when it comes to the Japanese ships, or the Japanese battleships, is that they just tend to be a little too inaccurate. And it does happen occasionally, but the better your commanders are, the less of that you're going to have. As you've seen, most of my shots are pretty freaking accurate, though there are shots that I take that are just like god-awful, and that's the Japanese troll that everybody talks about. Like, the Japanese battleships are trolls, don't get me wrong. When you need it most, they oftentimes let you down. But when their guns behave, they are nasty, and they can be a lot of fun to play. The Fuso is a lot of fun to play, even though it's a little on the slow side, but I'm used to the American dreadnoughts, so slow battleships aren't really an issue to me. I'm pretty good with the positioning and trying to make sure that I'm constantly in a position where I can fire at things. So that I don't really have an issue with. Now here, you're going to see me having to bow tank. I can't really turn right and get all my guns to bear because there's an island. So we're going to try to do damage to the Normandy through the front. We're going to get trolled quite a bit. We get a pin and an overpin for 1,100 damage. It was like awful. But as we get closer and closer, the torpedo boats are actually trying to not only torp him, but gun him down, which is not a good idea this early in the match for destroyers to just sit there in an open water and shoot at him. Because it's a French battleship, he's got a lot of guns, and he's going to use them. Now, he opens up a little too much to me. We get a nasty hit on him, and he's not long for this world. Next time I reload, he's pretty much done for. But our destroyers are still here just gunboating, open water gunboating at close range. It's not like they're doing it at their max gun range or anything like that. They're right up next to him firing their guns. And the guy next to me in this destroyer is going to pay the price for it. Now, we do get a solid hit here, and we take and finish off the Normandy. But we're going to turn in, start heading that way, and you can see right off the bat, we see the Vesa has been spotted, and we are going to take a shot at him, which means we're going to have to turn all the way back to the right again. But again, the fantastic turning ability of this ship allows these things to happen. Now, the Vesa doesn't realize he's being shot by the destroyer because the destroyer's not doing a whole lot of damage. I get a shot off with the spotter plane, and look at this grouping, folks. Good God. Give me more of that. And we just smash him. 8 penetrations. Remember, we only got 10 guns. Right? Or no, 12 guns. We got 12 guns. We hit him with 8 of them. That's not bad. That's 75% accuracy out of a salvo from basically max range. Okay? That's not too shabby. Now, he's still out there. We take a shot with the front guns, and I figure that'll be enough to do significant damage. Should allow the destroyer to finish him off. But we get trolled, and the shells do not hit the carrier, because that's how that works. But our shot at the Oklahoma actually hit and does a decent amount of damage. And we're going to get into this fight. We're watching the Vesa. I don't want to take the kill from the destroyer. He's earned it. He worked his way back there to spot the guy. I took a good chunk off of him, made it possible for the destroyer. Destroyer almost died in that fight, solely due to the fact that the freaking Vesa's secondaries were really good. Now, our Monahan, after being an open water gunboat versus a Normandy, decides now he needs to use his smoke against the Fubuki that's right here because the Fubuki kicks his butt. Now, unfortunately, what that does is that it gives the freaking Fubuki, who was firing his guns at the destroyer, he's able to break contact. And because of that, I can't see him. He can see me. And this is not going to end well for any battleship. You got a Japanese destroyer, close range, that you can't see. Even with a really maneuverable battleship, it's very difficult to dodge torpedoes when you don't know which direction they're going to come from. Now, we see a Fubuki back there. I look, there are 2 Fubukis. I was like, man, he relocated fast. But no, there are 2 Fubukis. So this guy gets spotted. we immediately turn out to get a full broadside, and this is going to be really bad for our health. Because we turn out to get the full broadside, he had already anticipated, we get the kill! That's the main thing. But look how many torpedoes we're going to take. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Luckily, we actually had, and we get very fortunate here to not be finished off by the Oklahoma. We had a heal ready, we had our damage con, we managed to survive because of that torpedo reduction that's fantastic on these things. And because we were able to survive that, and we get a nasty hit on the Oklahoma, again, showcasing the accuracy of these things, they can be very accurate when they want to be. It's just that that's not always the case, and that's when a lot of people just get so frustrated with them, especially with low-level commanders. You definitely want to get your battleship dispersion commanders leveled up if you can, because it will make your life so much better. I promise. I promise. Now, Fubuki ends up killing our Vesa, but it doesn't matter because the Fubuki went down as well, meaning it is just a 1 versus 1, at least in theory. Me versus this Oklahoma, and I have already taken most of his health, and I'm getting the better salvos. Now, he is being shot at by other people, but as you can see, they're completely missing. That guy shot at him and painted his ship and did no damage, which is frustrating. Must be a Japanese battleship out there. But this Oklahoma is going to showcase a lack of knowledge when it comes to being able to do damage and timing and 1v1s versus other battleships. And this is an area that a lot of people just don't do well in. I take full advantage of it because it's fun, and I enjoy these sorts of fights, but a lot of people just do not do well. Now, we aim high because we know that the superstructure of American battleships has more hit points. We don't suffer the same fate, unfortunately, for him. You can see mine's already saturated. So we get a good salvo there, and as we get closer, you can see I am doing the Dreadnought Shuffle. I am making sure to point my bow at him because of that bow armor, or that belt armor that goes all the way up to the bow, and because of the fact that we're able to get angled really, really well, he's not able to do any damage to us, and that is going to seal his fate, as he gives us way too much angle and we're able to finish him off. Finishing with over 113,000 damage. Pretty solid outing in this ship. 1 Citadel, 3 kills, high caliber, top of the leaderboard, 2200 base XP. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video. And if you have made it this far into the video, I've got a little challenge for you. I want you to type 43 in the comments, and the first person to type 43 in the comments, I'll pin you.